Sangye chodang soki chok nam la jungcho bado dak ni kyap sochi dakji jin shok di pe sonam ki drola panchi sangye drupa shok pe. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Sangha, until enlightenment, we take refuge in you. May we, through the merit of generosity and so forth, achieve Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Pei. Welcome to Tridevi Chamunda Mandir in Denver, Colorado. This is Yamajit, and thank you so very much for joining me this evening for day 11 of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I'd like to welcome Ali, Kelly, and Kim, who've just tuned in, and anyone else who's tuning in at the moment. Please feel free to say hello using the chat function on the bottom of your screen. So we're moving into another phase of the Bardo practice called the dawning of the fear-producing forms. So for the last few days, the soul of the deceased has been encountering deities of a very peaceful nature and bright, radiant lights. Now there's going to be this shift moving to where the soul is then meeting deities of a more wrathful nature. And actually our Yama image, Yama Chamunda image, which has been our meditational image for this practice, would be an example of a wrathful deity. Kali herself is a wrathful form of the goddess Parvati. I'm going to start by reading the introduction to this new section and then going into the day 11 practice. So, introduction. Now the dawning of the fear-producing forms is to be shown. In the above coming of the peaceful images, there are 7 stages. The setting face to face at each stage should have caused the deceased to recognize either at one or another stage and have been liberated. Multitudes will be liberated by this recognition, and although multitudes obtain liberation in that manner, the number of sentient beings being great, poor past choices, powerful misunderstandings, dense tendencies of too long standing, the wheel of ignorance and illusion become neither exhausted nor exhilarated. Although all to be set face to face in such detail, there is a vast preponderance of those who wandered downwards unliberated. Therefore, after the cessation of the peaceful and knowledge-holding images who come to welcome one, the flame and haloed, wrathful, blood-drinking forms come to dawn. They are only the former peaceful images in changed aspect. This is the place of the fear-producing forms, and they, being influenced by fear, terror, and awe, recognition becomes more difficult. The intellect passes from one fainting state to a round of fainting states. Yet, if one but recognizes a little, it is easier to be liberated at this stage. You may ask why. This is because the dawning of the radiance produces fear, terror, and awe. Due to these emotions, the intellect is undistractedly alert and concentrated, and one feels when sensing danger. This is a different stage. There are even discipline-holding holy people and doctors in metaphysical discourses who err at this stage, not recognizing they wander. As for common worldly folk, what need is there to mention them? By fleeing through fear, terror, and awe, they fall all over the precipices into the unhappy worlds and suffer. But the least of the devotees of this doctrine, as soon as he sees the blood drinking forms, will recognize them as personification of one's own tendencies. He will face them unwaveringly, meet them like old acquaintances. He will trust them, and losing his personality, merge into them, attaining perfection. By having meditated on the description of these blood drinking forms while in the human world, by having studied them, or at least by having seen their painted likenesses, you will be in a better position to recognize the forms during this stage and attain perfection. At the death of those discipline holding teachers and doctors of metaphysical discourses who remain uninstructed in these after earth death teachings, however, carefully they may have devoted themselves to religious practices, and however clever they may have been in expounding doctrines within the human world, there will not come liberation. This is because where they lived, these doctrines were never held within their heart, and because they had spoken contemptuously of them, and, and because they were never acquainted with the images of this doctrine. Thus, when these images dawn, they are not recognized. Suddenly seeing what they have never seen before, they view it as hostile and antagonistic. Feeling being engendered, they passed into the lower stages because of that. Therefore, if the observers of the teachers of the metaphysicians have not, in their own practices of this doctrine, there will not be liberation, and there will not be heavenly signs at the time of their death. The least of devotees in this doctrine, who may seem to be unrefined matters, unindustrious, untactful, and who may not live in accordance with his vows, and who in every way may be inelegant of these habits, and even unable, perhaps, to carry the practices of his teaching to a successful conclusion. Let no one feel disrespect for, nor doubt him, but pay reverence to the doctrines which he holds. By that alone one obtains liberation at this stage. Even if one's deeds may not have been very elegant while in the human world, at his death there will come at least one kind of sign, such as a rainbow radiance. This is because this doctrine possesses great gift waves. Those devotees of ordinary psychic development who have meditated upon the visualization and perfection processes need not wander down this far in the phase of the after earth life. As soon as they cease to breathe, they will be led into pure paradise realms. To the teachers, the holy ones, the discipline holders, the doctors, and those mystics who have not lived their beliefs and vows, and to all the common people, this phase is indispensable. Those who have meditated upon perfection will recognize the clear light at the moment of death, and all of them will be such as not to need the reading of this information. By recognizing the clear light that is the moment of death, they also will recognize the visions of the peaceful and fearful forms, and taking birth on the higher planes, will, in the next rebirth, meet with this doctrine, and then enjoy the continuity of one's actions. At birth, they will be fully aware of their past. This phase is the doctrine by which perfection may be attained without meditation. This doctrine liberating by hearing of it alone, the doctrine which leads beings to many poor past choices on the secret path. It is the profound doctrine which confers perfect understanding instantaneously. Those sentient beings who have been reached by it cannot go to the unhappy states. Thus, the indispensable nature of this doctrine having been explained, now comes the setting face to face with the dawning of the fearful forms, and this after earth life phase. Om. So this brings us to the day 11 practice. So I invite you to sit comfortably and close your eyes. Breathe deeply. And once again, imagine the deceased standing or seated in front of you. And at this point, I invite you to say the name of the deceased silently 3 times. And once again, acknowledge that you're acting as a conduct of this information to help guide that deceased person through the afterlife realms. O nobly born, and I invite you at this point to once again say the name of the deceased. Listen undistractedly. Not having been able to recognize when the peaceful image is shown upon you in the previous phases, you have come wandering this far. Now, on the 11th day, the blood-drinking, fear-producing forms will come to shine. Act so as to recognize them without being distracted. O nobly born, you will see a form of dark brown in color with 3 heads, 6 hands, and 4 feet firmly postured. The right face is white, the left is red, the central face is dark brown, the body emitting flames of radiance, the 9 eyes widely opened in terrifying gaze, the eyebrows quivering like lightning and protruding teeth glistening and set over one another, giving vent so sonorous utterances of ah, la, la, and ha, 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 and piercing whistling sounds, the hair of a reddish yellow-brown color standing on end and emitting radiance, the heads adorned with dried human skulls, and the symbols of the sun and the moon, black serpents and raw human heads, forming a garland for the body. The first of the right hands holding a wheel, the middle one a sword, the last one a battle axe, the first of the left hands a bell, the middle one a skull bowl, and the last one a knife. His body is embraced by the mother, her right hand clinging to his neck, and left putting to his mouth a red shell filled with blood, making a palatal sound like cackling, and clashing sound, and a rumbling sound, and the sound of loud thunder. Emanating from the 2 forms a radiant flame of wisdom, blazing from every hair pore of the body of each, containing a flaming object. The 2 forms together, standing with one leg bent and the other straight and tense, on the raised platform, supported by horned eagles, will come forth from with your own brain and shine vividly upon you. Fear that not. Do not be awed. Know it to be an embodiment of your own intellect. As it is of your own mind, do not be terrified. Do not be afraid. In reality, it is the Father, Mother. Simultaneously with recognition, liberation will be obtained if they are recognized, merging yourself in at one merit into the form, and perfection will be one. Om. So I invite you now to take a deep and clearing breath, letting go of the meditation for now. Slowly opening your eyes and taking some time for quiet meditation before resuming your daily or nightly activities. Bringing the palms of your hands together at your heart center. Namaste. Blessings always. Thank you so very much for joining me. And Jai Ma. Jai Ma. Jai Ma. So I look forward to you joining me tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock for day 12. This will be a relatively short meditation. And then likewise for day 13 on Friday at 7 p.m. And then following that sadhana, I'll be signing off for a short time, signing back on, and I'll be sharing with you the next installment of our 64 Yogini series. And this will be a puja and satsang to Ma Kalaratri, the mother of the darkness of night. Once again, I'd like to say thank you for Kim, Kelly, and Ali for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Jai Ma. Jai Mata Di. And have a wonderful night. And thank you.